Over the past couple of years, ever since I've been alive, there's always been some kind of fad that has to come out and overstay its welcome. When I was younger, when I was listening to music, I used to think that auto-tunes was really cool. And then now, well, it's being abused, it's overstayed its welcome, and to be honest, there's nothing we can do about it. It's the same thing with every other fad. It stays, and it stays for a very long time, until finally people just get sick of it. I reached that breaking point a very long time ago, and TNA just loves poking fun at me. So you know what they decided to do? They decided to use Mr. Anderson's catchphrase, and mind you, he abuses that catchphrase to hell. They auto-tune it. About 50 times they do it in the course of 1 minute. If they're so afraid of people changing the channel, then by God, man, it's not working. Whatever you are doing, it is not working. I nearly changed the channel, and I wasn't even going to review it, but I'm doing this for the people out there. I am the true people's champ. No, let me take that back. I don't want Rocky getting mad. I am the people's champ of the YWC. YWC, on the side note, is the YouTube wrestling community. Anyway, let's give TNA a break, even though that was a very horrible intro. Let's give them a break. First segment, Mr. Anderson is in a fairly odd promo with a math professor. He brings this math professor out from his old college, and they're talking about how they're giving a math equation, and it honestly has nothing to do with the whole point Mr. Anderson's trying to make. He just wants his freaking rematch, quote unquote. So, Mr. Anderson pulls a Stone Cold and just randomly gives a mic check to the professor. Why? Well, because apparently the professor had the hots for Mr. Anderson's love interest, who was named Becky, and he told Becky that Mr. Anderson was gay. Yeah. Mr. Anderson then proceeded to tell the audience, he was very scared, telling the audience that one of his best friends was gay. He's not trying to make fun of gay people. And let me stop myself. I don't want anybody saying that I'm trying to be a douche or something, but you know, it's to the point right now. I mean, if you say gay, you're going to be arrested. But let me shut up before I get my account deleted or something. Anyway, Hulk Hogan, RVD, and Eric Bischoff come out, and honestly, Eric Bischoff didn't say a word. Not that I can remember. And even if he did, that's even worse, because he didn't say anything important. I mean, seriously, he did not have to be there at all. But yet he came out. All those rumors about Eric Bischoff and Hogan trying to steal the spotlight are beginning to sound a little bit true. But anyway, RVD is out saying that he's been screwed out of the title for numerous times and he won't have it. Sting comes out because he's heard enough of this constant babbling, and he says that he's going to be the special enforcer for the main event tonight. That saved the entire first segment. And to be honest, although I don't like the Stone Cold direction they're trying to give Mr. Anderson, I think that he is going to be a very good main player in the company. It's a shame WWE didn't take advantage of his talents. They could have told him to be careful with his moves. He does seem very careless in the ring, but his charisma just way outweighs it. You know, when you look at those two weights and one goes up, the other goes down, I don't know how to explain it, but his charisma is a lot heavier than his faults. Anyway, third segment. Tara versus Mickie James. It was a great match. These two are very great in the ring. They put the WWE Divas to shame, but the match was short. However, there was a great stipulation. Tara's best friend, well, I wouldn't call her a best friend because she's always being bossed around by Madison, but Madison says, if you don't put in the work and beat Mickie James, you are going to be in big trouble. But she never said exactly what she would do to her. Tara loses, and, well, we'll just find out what happens to her next week. After that, there was a nice little backstage segment of Sting and Mr. Anderson showing the tension. They do a very good job with those backstage segments. They feel real, and the cameraman isn't, like, it's not made obvious that he's right in front of what's happening. They kind of hide the person. And I like that. I just wish the camera had better quality. Anyway, the next match was Okada versus the Pope. And originally, I hated the ending. It ended in DQ, and because it was short. But the fact of the matter remains is that I like where this is going between the Pope, Okada, and Samoa Joe. I don't like Okada because he looks exactly like the Green Hornet. I mean, he's wearing the mask. But I do like how they, instead of giving us a 25-minute match that wouldn't have done anything, they made the Pope look more sinister. If he didn't look like it already. I mean, he hung Okada and beat him with a nightstick. Next segment, RVD and Hulk Hogan. They were talking, and Hulk Hogan tried to put on his goody two-shoes. Oh, I love you, RVD. I wouldn't do anything wrong to you. And RVD leaves, and Hulk Hogan says, what an idiot. We cannot trust Hulk Hogan. Both kayfabely and non-kayfabely. Next segment, Ric Flair. Awesome brawl with Abyss coming on in to save his buddies, Fat Hardy, and, wow, dude, I don't even remember who else was there. Crap. Yeah, that sucks. But anyway, Abyss came out because Fortune came out to cause some trouble. Fortune got their tails kicked by returning Abyss, and Abyss's finisher looks awesome. One of the best finishers in TNA. One of the best finishers that I've seen so far. Next segment is a tasteless promo with Hernandez, making Latinos and Latinas look like trash. And a funny thing that I realized, I looked it up, and Sarita or Rosita, whichever one of them, it's the tall one. She's not Spanish, she's Canadian. It's a great gimmick. I mean, she's doing it really good. The problem these days with wrestling gimmicks, I mean, everyone's trying to be themselves. It only works with John Cena. Everyone else trying to be themselves. There's no cartoon characters. You don't say, I wonder if these guys were like this in real life. So I'm glad that, Sarita, I couldn't even tell. But it was a tasteless promo. They're acting like stereotypical Latinos and Latinas, and it was just bad. But anyway, there was a street fight with Matt Morgan and I can't remember. This is a reoccurring problem with me in TNA. The match ended so quickly, there were no weapons in the street fight whatsoever. I don't even remember his tag team partner. It ended faster. Wait a minute, did it? Yeah, it ended faster than Victory Road's main event. Another short match, so it's going to get a negative. I do love the fact that the beautiful people in Winter they're in kind of a love triangle. Angelina is being held by one side, like her left arm is being pulled by Winter, and her right arm is being pulled by Angelina. Wait a minute. Man, I don't even remember the beautiful people's names. But let's just say I like the storyline. Next segment, Scott Steiner, Crimson versus Inc. The match was short, but it was good. And I like how Inc. is being handled. Shannon Moore is turning into a jerk. I expect a heel turn from him. He spit in Papa Pump's face. Last time he was being rude to Beer Money. I like where this is going. I don't really like Shannon Moore, but I like where his character is going. He could make a great heel. So, main event, RVD versus Mr. Anderson. It was fantastic, but it was short. There was only 9 minutes and 43 seconds of wrestling on this episode of TNA Impact. And it brings me to the question, if this company is called Total Nonstop Action, why was there barely 10 minutes of action? I mean, there was so much talking, I really don't know what to say. If you're called Total Nonstop Action, I want to see wrestling. There was a terrible ending to a pretty lackluster show, but I am going to give the show a 7 because the redhead was back. If you don't know who I'm referring to, watch my other video. So there is my review of this week's TNA Impact on 3/24/11. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Final notes on it, I thought there was too much talking, not enough fighting. They could have easily advanced all the storylines by a lot more action, and I think this is going to turn off a lot of people. However, I've been checking out ratings, and they've been steadily increasing. Last week, I believe, got a 1.78 rating, which is the highest they've seen in almost ever. So whatever they're doing, it must be right, but I still want to see some action. TNA is my alternative to WWE. I watch both shows, I enjoy both of them, but I want to see action, not talking. I really do think they need to improve that. Also, the TV title champion, Gunner, was nowhere to be found. AFK, my friends. They have to get rid of all of those belts. There's too many. I like the fact that there's tag team belts for the women, but I mean, let's be honest. You can't have 7 belts on one show. But those are my final thoughts on this week's TNA Impact. Subscribe if you haven't. Like this video and give me a comment on what you think. And I'm definitely going to get into some more video game reviews, and I will be starting to stream. So I'll put a link in the description when I finally link my accounts, and I'll do some streams. So yeah, thanks for watching and subscribe.